Hi everyone and welcome to this series of videos on the OKP4 architecture. I'm Nono, Cloud and Blockchain Architect, and my mission with these videos is simple: to share my knowledge on the OKP4 architecture with you guys. So at OKP4 we develop a blockchain infrastructure for digital resources orchestration. OKP4 basically allows companies and individuals to define on-chain rules and to share any off-chain digital resources in order to create a new generation of applications on top of them, unlocking real-world value creation and bridging the gap between Web 2 and Web 3. These videos are motivated by the coming final phase of the Nemeton program. This fifth phase will be focused on builders, so if you are a Web3 developer comfortable with the Cosmos SDK and custom WASM, you should like the following. OKP4 is now ready to welcome the builders and to celebrate the main event of the Druidic year, the Samhain. During this phase, we invite builders to develop their own application using the OKP4 protocol and through micro and macro building features. The micro features are the basic building blocks needed to interact with the protocol, while the macro features will include the first basic application use cases. Of course, a good knowledge of the OKP4 protocol concepts will be very useful for you. Okay, so let's go. In this first video, we won't enter the technical details of the OKP4 architecture. We will first introduce some overview of the architecture. We already said that the protocol is an orchestrator for digital resources with a means to define on-chain rules. And for that, we will introduce the dataverse. In the dataverse, we will find mainly two elements. First, we have the zones. A zone is framed by a governance. The governance is basically a set of regulations that will manage the structure of the zone and that will give the different process to orchestrate and share digital resources. And to define what is a digital resource, basically this is a resource that is off-chain and we can reference it inside the protocol. And when we reference it, when we shared it with the protocol, we can give it some consent rules to limit the use of them. And the protocol will then be able to invoke those digital resources for some executions. We'll dive a little bit more inside the protocol and we'll see the architecture split in three key domains. We will have the law, the ontology and the orchestration. So I'll try to define each of them. First, I'll be talking about the law. So the law basically is a way to define rules that we can question. And for example, it can be a rules for asking permission to do something. We will see in the next video that the rules are written in Prolog. So we have a Prolog interpreter inside the blockchain. Prolog is a logical programming language that allows to define some predicates and facts. And the law domain will allow us to design the zone governance and also the digital resource consent rules. So now we will talk about the ontology. I won't enter in deep details about the ontology because this is a tricky subject, but basically the ontology will contain both the model of the dataverse and also the data it contains. So we are talking about instances, and the ontology will be a means to give a semantic representation of the dataverse. And to finish, I will talk about the orchestration layer. This is the last domain of the architecture, and this one will be responsible to invoke the digital resources. It will maintain the different process and define the process to interact with the off-chain resources. It will also ensure that the conditions are met. By conditions, I mean the zone governance and the digital resources consent rules. And it will be also responsible to execute the different retribution mechanisms you can have in a zone. So this one can be defined by the execution layer. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this first video and have a better understanding on the OKP4 architecture. In the next videos, we'll go deeper in each architecture component with some practical examples. So thank you everyone, and by the way, don't forget to follow us on our networks. Bye!